President Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi arrived home from an official two-day working visit to Zambia, where he and his counterpart agreed on strengthening bilateral ties. Meanwhile, President Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi and his Zambian counterpart, President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, held official talks this morning in Zambia, wherein he reiterated the commitment of both countries to bringing about impactful prosperity to their economies. The Zambian President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, also reiterated that the signing of agreements between the two countries should not just be a formality, but should be implemented for the betterment of their people and economies. Botswana and Zambia have set targets to have concluded all necessary requirements to a number of sectoral areas of collaboration.
We, Your Excellency, not only agreed on a number of sectoral areas in which to collaborate, we put a timeline. And the reason for this applause, because this timeline has been met, very proudly so. But the next step is to make sure that we actualize and bring to life the contents of what is in those memoranda and expand and grow the potential therein. And I want to encourage both teams, Your Excellency, to be as creative, as imaginative, and as bold as possible. We're going to begin by harnessing on our comparative advantages, those low-hanging fruits that we have. And clearly, in the tourism space, the fact that we're neighbors, the fact that we love each other, we agree, the fact that we are members of a number of multilateral institutions together, and least of which would be our membership to SADC, the fact that we have commodities and services that we like, that each has a competitive advantage in, should make this seamless. And we want to urge that you complete your audit of your national ID and the making comparable those features so that our people can travel and our goods will follow them much easier.
It's an asset so valuable to us, not just Botswana and Zambia, but to the region and the rest of Africa, and invariably, indirectly, the global community. We covered areas, agriculture, livestock, mining, just to mention a few, and agreed that we'll meet here in Livingstone today out of the Kasane visit. And once we sign things we're going to sign today, they are not for paper and filing cabinets. They are for active utilization, implementation, which will help us deepen our cooperation. People to people, yes. Business to business, yes. Economy to economy, country to country. And invariably improve the lives of our citizens in Botswana, our citizens in Zambia. That's the story. I think it's a nice story. And we're very delighted, President Masisi, to have you and your team here.
The Vice President, Mr. Slamba Tsohwane, says the establishment of the Drone Assembly and Testing Center at BOTSWANA will help improve sectors of the economy as well as reduce crime rate in Botswana. The VP made the remarks during the launch of the Drones Assembly and Testing Center at BOTSWANA in Palape. Lovemore Mario.
As developed countries continue to focus on the use of remote piloted aircrafts known as drones, Botswana is also moving towards the same direction as in September last year. BOTSWANA signed a memorandum of understanding and agreement for general operations with Mileage Group, a company which deals with manufacturing of drones.
Our view is that when like-minded organizations join their hands together, like we have done with the Mileage Group, the resultant outcomes can only be gigantic as a collective achievement from our joint pursuits.
Since its establishment and with the full support of a mileage group, the Drone Technology Center, DTC, has specialists in professional research and development. Actually, it's almost like 4 years now. Assembly production, the solution provision, repair service, and the training of drones.
The acting president, Mr. Slamba Tsohwane, who launched the Drone Assembly and Testing Center, says more is yet to come as the government continues to initiate and implement ideas on improving technology to help other sectors of the economy.
The establishment of this center has come at the very right time, and I hold a strong opinion that it will go a long way in igniting a revolution of our economic and industrial pursuits as a nation by leveraging the latest advancements in drone technology and closely investigating its continuous improvement and adaptation to our local conditions and needs. We are creating a right platform to enhance economic productivity and sustainability in numerous sectors of our economy, as well as providing invaluable opportunity for students and researchers to engage in a cutting-edge research and hands-on learning experiences.
Research and innovation to the dream world. We are dreaming to have a knowledge-based economy from a resource-based economy. We are dreaming to have an export-led economy, a high-income country, one of those high-income countries. We can do that through research and innovation.
The Civil Aviation Authority Botswana, who regulates the license and use of drones, say they are in the process of coming up with regulations for aerodynamics, which will help the use of drones locally.
The Civil Aviation Authority of Botswana has developed formal guidance that regulates the use of RPAs. For those curious about the much-awaited regulations, the CAB has submitted the draft to the Ministry of Transport and Public Works for consideration, and we trust that the final approval by the Minister per Section 89 of the Civil Aviation Act will happen in a matter of weeks. The
manufacturing of drones in Botswana is expected to reduce importation of goods and products from other countries. Lavmo Mario, BTV News, Palape.
Negotiations between the government and 5 recognized unions, Bopeu, BTU, Bosetu, Bolau and Bonu, have been adjourned for a period of 20 days and will reconvene on the 3rd of May. Meanwhile, the implementation of a 5% salary adjustment across the board, which was agreed upon in 2022 for the financial year 2024-2025, will effect on the 1st of April.
Re kopa gore le la melentse le re letetse jalo se re se lebogelang le re se itumelela ka gore re kgonne go gata temanyana ya gore mme a 5% eno dumalaneng a tsene tse dingwe di tla tswela di buiwa ra amogela seo my co-mandate giver gore re tla tsamaya re go ipankanya re go tlhotlhonya re reetse tse re tshwanetseng go di reetsa mo ipaakanyong le information e kopilweng re nne bohego gore re itsise gore fellow kana banka rona ka ga union ba kgona gore tsotlhe tse di tlhokiwang le bana ba nne le tsone ka nako gore ba kgona gore ba ipaakanye kgwedi ga e telele ke dilo tse re dumelang gore re tla ga re tswa gore re ipaakantse gore ga nako otlhe gore re tle re gore re ipaakanye re ipheleleditse re tsaya tsotlhe tse re ka di kgonang.
The negotiations were not easy. They were quite robust, difficult, but at the same time, parties did engage cordially. The outcome of today's negotiations is that the negotiations have not been completed. They have been deferred to the 3rd of May 2024.
Some members of the public have raised concerns about insurance companies that deduct monthly premiums from customers, but later fail to abide by their contractual obligations to provide insurance policy claims and payouts. Ungutlule Tamare.
This message is received by many funeral policy holders following payment of their monthly premiums. Despite making payments as agreed, some of the companies they have engaged to provide insurance services do not meet the end of the bargain. Some of these individuals have fallen victim to paying high premiums to certain insurance companies with the hope of cashing out from their policies during difficult times, but have to go through difficult moments. They have been paying through their teeth to cushion empty-handed.
BOTSWANA ba jiwa ntsoma. Most of that BOTSWANA ga se motho yo balang. Policy e na le fine print go morago go kwaleng dio tse dintsi. Ba nna ke tabe ke itumelela gore ke secure le malome ke secure le nkuku le nna ke le moteng. Then o bosa khone go bona dilo dingwe mo contracteng tse le gore di kwadilwe.
For instance jaaka ke tswa mo family of 6 yana. Ha re ka insura motsadi rote ba didimala ba tsaya madi motsadi ha tlhokagala hela ke gone le tautwang dikgang gore ha le kela claim lote mme ne le ntse le ntsha madi lote.
The Non-Bank Financial Institutions Regulatory Authority, NBFIRA, which is tasked with regulating insurance companies as well as issuing operating license to insurance companies, is well aware of complaints raised by defrauded policyholders.
The regulator, NBFIRA, does receive complaints from members of the public, specifically about funeral policy, funeral insurance policies. The regulator has received approximately 100 complaints pertaining to the insurance industry as a whole, but only about 10% of these were specifically about funeral insurance policies and claims thereof. The common reasons given for the complaints pertaining to this normally relate to the non-payment or underpayment of insurance premiums. Another reason, one of the underlying reasons for the complaints is where a policyholder would request to be reimbursed for the premiums that they have paid. Another common underlying reason that we come across is where a claim has been submitted to the insurer, but the waiting period has not yet lapsed.
The lingering question is, what is NBFIRA doing to protect the rights of consumers?
What our procedures say is that a consumer has the right to escalate a complaint matter to NBFIRA. However, this process requires that the policyholder in this instance write to the entity, the insurer, service provider or broker, whoever it was, and write to them to inform them of their complaint. If the policyholder does not get a satisfactory response or no response at all from the insurer, then they are well entitled to now escalate the matter to NBFIRA. The complainant is in the wrong. They may have misunderstood the terms or conditions of their contracts. In some instances, the insurer is in the wrong. But whichever way, we will make our judgment based on the criteria that I've just described. If after assessing a complaint matter, we ascertain that the insurer indeed was wrong, we have a number of tools available to us as a regulator. Issuing a warning to depending on the gravity, firstly on the nature of the transgression, the gravity of it, and a number of factors. But the tools range from issuing a warning to imposing penalties to even revoking the license of the said company if need be.
Efforts by BOTSWANA Television to hear the side of the insurance companies proved futile as they requested a questionnaire which they in turn ignored until the time of publishing the story. Ungutlule Tamare, BTV News, Gaborone.
Smart Switch has donated blankets and pillows worth over 140,000 to the Okavango District Council. The donations will be handed over to 194 orphans in boarding schools. Tumisang Kelatlilwe reports.
The gesture of donating to the needy demonstrates love and care amongst BOTSWANA to each other.
Therefore, Smart Switch opted to extend a helping hand to students, especially the less privileged, in order to uplift and encourage them to concentrate on their studies without being disturbed by their family background.
The proposal here, this council, was the one that we felt resonated well with us. A very clopayone. Mikana, Hotopahone Mona, Hasirunala Renusiri, Reles and Hudirajal. Hormendele no will let her banala cabone, by Lomba Clocomela ban, Ba Hole, by Clocomela Gamos. Molemung Mola Hating, Lahais Hormende, Du Cosi, Macansalara, whether you have a party if both banality was a hore, but to buy no Robadico was Digo Tassi, but Chuledi.
Okavango is one of the districts that is remote and has many people living in poverty, and therefore this benevolence is highly appreciated as it will go a long way in making a difference for those receiving the gifts.
Bana ba rona le bone ke ba teng ke bana ba bothale thata ba ba tlhokang go rotwetswa ke tsela gore ga ba le hajana ba bothale ke bone baemedi ba rona ba kamoso.
As you may know, in our district, our pass rate is very low, and some of those factors is not due to a child's capability, but to how their system is at home and their daily living. We need certain things to be able to survive. We need certain things to be able to function properly as children. And I would like to thank again Smart Switch for Switch to be smart, for being able to take on a parent-like role for our children and being able to be the parent that our children deserve.
The donation will give these students dignity, and they will be able to focus on their studies at school and aim for better grades to improve their livelihoods in future. Dumisang Kelatilwe, BTV News, Gumare.
Pandamatenga has for years been a high-scale farming production area as it has rich soil which is suitable for a variety of crops. However, this year farmers are worried that there might be no harvest due to low rainfall. Kialeboha Eole reports.
Historically, Pandamatenga has been a center of excellence for grain and legume production as it has the potential to feed the nation. However, this year farmers say they anticipate a low harvest as the rains have been inadequate. Farmers say all hope is not lost and that they are still hopeful that if they can receive good rainfall, they could still produce a better yield.
Last year in 2023, we had a very severe drought as well. What happened was at the end of 2023, we were warned by government that next year will be an El Nino year. So we did all the efforts to preserve whatever moisture we had left in the soil and try by all means do good farming practices to preserve the moisture. Unfortunately, this year, up to date, some farms have received only 180 millimeters of rain. I think that is probably the worst on record in over 40 years. So right now we are struggling. We're using drought-resilient crops such as red sweet sorghum. We procure our seed from Australia. It's the best seed available in the whole world. Unfortunately, it just cannot cope with the current conditions.
However, at Hills Agrochemicals Farm, who ventured into cash crops such as coffee and horticulture through irrigation, revealed that the fertile soils are ideal for their crops as they have already started harvesting and even selling to local enterprises.
2015 go tla jaana ntse tla ileka mehuta e harloganeng ya dijalo re ke ra lema ya le ditapole ra lema ditamati ra lema le coffee mo nakong ya gompieko re lema lone moretlo o eleng gore o mo selekanyeng sa 1 hectare o bidwang go red globe re be re wa re nna le variety engwe bidwang go crimson e leng gore ne mo 1.3 hectares bophara jwa farm e hala jone re ka re jalo ke 5 hectares a re leng teng me re na le dikarolo tse dingwe tse nang le bo 8 hectares le 17 hectares.
It is government's vision to industrialize Pandamatenga and turn it into an agropolis, and that is why companies such as Panda Oil, a sunflower pressing plant, are already making significant strides towards realizing that vision.
Sunflower ya lemiwa ke difamara
e nngwe ne re lema tota re le company e nngwe ne re reka ko bo Bambo e nngwe re reka mo difamare tse dingwe sa Pandamatenga re tisa kwano ko madirelo a rona re to go dira mahuri.
Government recognizes and supports the efforts of Pandamatenga farmers through projects such as the Chobe Zambezi Water Transfer Project, which seeks to draw water from the Chobe River for irrigation purposes, as rains have become unpredictable in recent years due to climate change. BTV News, Pandamatenga.
It is now for sports with Tato Khosemore Titi.
Hi, Khomutso, good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm well, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you. It is that time of the evening where we look at Botswana Tonight, our sports segment, brought to you by Tato Khosemore. Thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight. The senior national football team head coach Didier Gomez Darosa says despite their 2-goalless draw at the Madagascar Four Nations tournament against Rwanda and Burundi, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to improve the striking force before their next championships and the World Cup qualifier later this year. The Zebras gaffer highlighted this upon the team's arrival at Lokwem border post this morning. Katlago Khakole reports.
Darosa went on to say, despite the challenges up front, he was impressed with his defense, which was watertight in the two encounters where they played without conceding a goal. He said this therefore means they have to work extra hard with the middle field and the striking force.
We didn't concede any goal. It is our third clean sheet during your last 4 matches. It is interesting, but also we didn't score goal. It is my coaching problem. I am the responsible. I need to find option. I need to find solution to be more efficient in our offensive compartment. But I'm not worried. Like I say, I'm very convinced that we can be better. We can play more offensive football.
The senior national team coach, who has been with the Zebras for 6 months now, also pointed out that they used the tournament to introduce new players into their fold and were impressed with the debutants, saying he's confident that they will give his squad depth going into major competitions this year.
I am always on the field, on the training field, on the match field. I can see a lot of player is very important, but for sure in June we will need Tsoso, we will need Gape, Titi also is injury, we will need Mpo. I hope that all my players will be ready to play this crucial World Cup qualifier, because we have too much to play outside against Uganda and Somalia, and it will be very important to take maximum point to keep our chance in this qualifier.
Ratsamikile sente so ke tsa ke re mo tournament e re tsong go yone re itutile thata re le batsamiki. Yes, di-post ne di le teng there and there, but ke tsa ke re go go pele mokatisi wa rona o ta di bakanya. And other thing gore as a team, as a leader, ke khone go ba le basimane gore ska ra tseng dithogo re tsose dithogo tsa rona go cause rena di games di season tsa World Cup qualifiers.
The Zebras will go into camp in 2 months to prepare for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Uganda on the 3rd of June before taking on Somalia on the 10th of the same month. Katlago Khakole, BTV Sport, Tlokweng.
Moving on, Minister of Youth, Gender, Sport and Culture, Timiso Rakgare, has applauded the team that represented Botswana at the just ended African Games held in Accra, Ghana, for a good performance. When welcoming the team back yesterday, Rakgare said it is a step in the right direction as the country prepares for the Paris Olympics, slated for this year between July and August. Ryan Kengwanyani with more.
Minister Rakgare said the team's dedication in this year's edition indicate that with the right support from Botswana, the team, which is made up of more youthful players, can make the country even prouder at the upcoming international events.
On behalf of the government of Botswana, the leadership of sport in Botswana, all our invaluable stakeholders, and indeed, on my own behalf, let me express our greatest delight, honor, and privilege in welcoming Team Botswana back home following a memorable performance at the 13th African Games. At this juncture, to highly commend each and every member of Team Botswana for having taken these games very seriously, for it sure reflected in Team Botswana's performance. A round of applause for our team.
When delivering his report of the mission in Accra, Ghana, Chef de Mission Shadrach Kapeko expressed his confidence in the team, especially the good performance delivered in the codes that the country was competing in for the first time.
The games were used as preparations to qualify more teams to Paris 2024 Games and even beyond. We have achieved this through our relay teams and beach volleyball, who still stands a chance to qualify for Paris 2024. The games were indeed a good preparation to them before the last leg of their qualifying games. Beach volleyball will be going on their qualifying competitions. Therefore, these were indeed a good preparation for them at the games.
I'm proud of those that won and those that lost proudly, because we went from broken arms to one-eyed men, from knockdowns to knockouts. We've seen it all, and none of us quit. That is the most important thing. It takes a brave person to finish a match. Well, they say that a bull is seen by its scars, so.
This year, Team Botswana finished on position 32 with a total of 13 medals, 3 silvers and 10 bronze, which is more of a decline from the previous edition, where they finished 17th with 14 medals, which were made up of 5 gold, 3 silver and 6 bronze. One positive factor is that the team officials and the national sport governing body have a good foundation from these games to build a strong and competitive team ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics. Ryan Kangwanyani, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Botswana Cricket Association is currently conducting an under-19 national team camp to select players who will go for another camp in May as they prepare for the ICC Division 2 qualifiers to be held in September this year. Ran Kangwanyani continues.
The team, which is made up of 40 players from around the country, is in a 4-day camp aimed at assessing players' performances. The assessment is done by coaches from one of the world's cricket powerhouses, India. One of the coaches, Rajesh Kamath, said their intention is to leave behind noticeable improvements and raise standards that will enable Botswana cricket to compete in the big leagues.
It will take a bit time, but I'm very impressed with the enthusiasm of the boys. We had before this, we coached the men's team, we coached the under-19 girls, we coached the women's team, and this is the 4th group we are having now. And there is a lot of enthusiasm among the kids, and I mean, it can always go up from here. So we are hopeful that as the days go on, as the years go on, Botswana will be a power to reckon with in the game.
The national team's cricket coach, Stanley Timoni, said all that will be left for them is to continue implementing what they have learned from the Indian coaches.
With what they have been giving us and what they've been teaching out to our players in terms of information and knowledge, it's great. All we need to do is to stay behind and continue with what they've been teaching the kids. And I can assure you that if we are to stay focused as a country, we'll achieve our goals and we'll make sure that our flag goes high.
He concluded by applauding the parents for their unwavering support for their children.
To be honest, I would want to salute the parents. You know, talking of both parents from the girl child and the boys. As you can see, we've got about 16 guys from Francistown, 2 from Pique, and they're going to be here for 4 days. And the parents are meeting all the expenses, so it means we have got serious support from the parents, and we salute them for that.
The under-19 boys national team is expected to get back on camp in May this year after being trimmed to 30 as they continue with their preparations for the ICC Division 2 qualifiers. Ryan Kangwanyani, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
In conclusion, Gaborone City Council Deputy Mayor Udweze Tautuna has commended the organizers of African Stars International Athlete Championships for their efforts to cultivate track and field athletes from a young age in order to produce well-rounded athletes. Tautuna said this during day 2 of the week-long athletics competition held at the National Stadium. Khomsa Sefako with the details.
Tautuna said the track and field event will help in ensuring and developing sport excellence from a young age to tap into the abundant athletics talent that the country have, which he said have been for years frustrated by the lack of school sport.
I think this is the right direction. Tapping talent from young people is very important. I'm too emotional because this thing has been stopped for some time. And I think there was an issue between the government and the teachers. But if the decision has been taken, so you see what is happening now with sports. I mean, the entire codes, the sports codes. Nowadays, sports is business. This need to be made commercial. If you are grabbing them from young age, you will see a lot of talent. And I believe that Botswana, it's going to be one of the countries that we'll see, and we'll make it a hub, especially when we come to athletics.
Botswana Athletics National Team coach Justice Dipeba said the championship was a good initiative as it resonated well with the association's objectives of developing sports from grassroots level.
They will help us to identify talent. As you have maybe aware, for the past 4 years, if I'm not wrong, school sports, so we were not able to touch or to have contact with kids in terms of sports. So events like this, if we get to have them, they will help us to come and identify talent. Will also help the kids. I mean, at this age, yes, we talk it's not a competition level. It's a time for them to discover themselves. It's for them to learn what to do, how to do things, and what to do in terms of their events. They will learn can I run, can I throw, can I jump, and that is the whole idea behind this event. We were able to advise them because we've got kids as young as 6 years old. As you can see now, running the 4x50 relays, they did the 60 meters yesterday. So we are trying to make sure that the events that are being done are appropriate for the ages that are here. And we had the 8 and 9 years old running 80 meters yesterday. So that is something that we make sure that they do the proper stuff.
According to the coordinator and chairperson of the event, Havenda Daliwali, plans are on the way to make the event, which is in its first year, an annual event and expand it to other parts of the country. The championship will run until Saturday, where the athletes from different schools in and around Gaborone will compete in different categories. Khomzo Sefako, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
That's it from Botswana Tonight Sports segment. Thank you for watching. Back to Khomotso.
Thank you so much, TT. Have yourself a fantastic evening, sir, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter, and enjoy your church service tomorrow as well as the Holy Communion.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was TT giving us the latest in sports. Let's take a final look at stories leading the way this evening. President Masisi back home from Zambia. The establishment of a drone assembly and testing center at BUs to help improve the economy. And in sports, Team Botswana applauded for good performance at the just ended African Games held in Accra, Ghana. That's all that we had for you in our news bulletin this evening. BTV News, Ikanyarona, #BW Mindset Change. Up next is the weather update.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather forecast brought to you by Elite. Let's take a look at the rainfall amount recorded this morning. Buipelo Primary School 16 millimeters, Mamuno Border 15 millimeters, New Canals Primary School and Zabo Metrical Station recorded 4 millimeters each. Metzimantla Kotla 3 millimeters, Modern Metrical Station 2 millimeters, Sani Metrical Station 1 millimeters. Looking at the current satellite image, clouds are visible over most parts of the country. Tomorrow, expecting cloudy conditions with possibility of isolated thunderstorms over Khansi and Kalahari districts. Also expecting partly cloudy conditions with possibility of isolated thunderstorms over Ngamilan, Chobe, Northern Central, Southern Southeast, Katling, and Gwenin districts. In the morning, we're expecting hot temperatures over Ngamilan, Chobe, and Northern Central between 20 and 23 degrees Celsius. Also expecting warm temperatures ranging between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, we're expecting hot temperatures over Ngamilan, Chobe, and Northern Central ranging between 34 and 35 degrees Celsius. Also expecting warm temperatures between 27 and 32 degrees Celsius. As for the African region, showers are expected over Port Elizabeth and Antananarivo between 3 degrees Celsius over Antananarivo and Port Elizabeth. Nairobi and Luanda are expecting thunder showers with 33 degrees Celsius over Luanda and 27 degrees Celsius over Nairobi. Cairo and Rabat were expecting partly cloudy conditions with 23 degrees Celsius over Rabat and 33 degrees Celsius over Cairo. Clear skies expected over Khartoum with 39 degrees Celsius. Addis Ababa we're expecting thunder showers with 21 degrees Celsius. That's the weather forecast. Good night.
Coming up next on Conversation with Africa.